All right. Did you watch the spring game?
I rewatched it, yeah. I was in Zurich Saturday.
I didn't watch it.
My
But
mic's off.
I'll talk about their fits. Their fits.
The run bits.
Yeah, like Joe Burrow, all their fit stats. Who was the other guy that was there? Oh, fucking
Sting.
Thad.
Stingley.
And
Like,
Moss.
he's not supposed to be dressing like that until he's got a contract.
He's already probably gotten paid NIL money.
I don't care. You're not a big dog if you're in the NFL.
All right. Hey, we're about to roll.
Wow.
What was that door says?
Actually,
Well, I like
keep it open. The sound was like messed up. I listened to some of it. It was like reflecting.
When McCain comes in here,
Yeah,
it's gonna
shut
be a
it.
party.
We'll just shut it when McCain comes in.
So keep it open.
Yeah, keep it open.
Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to the Out of the Box Show. I'm John Wallace alongside my co-host, James Luffy and Stinson Lanois.
He's back.
I can't believe I just said that. Like it was part of the show.
It's not.
We're 106 episodes in, and Stinson is making his second guest appearance on the Out the Box podcast. We got a lot to talk about this week. Second time as a full host.
Yeah,
as
right.
a guest host.
Yeah.
Um,
If you're gonna speak, stats,
Sorry.
speak them right.
Sorry. We got a lot to get to. There was a pretty massive weekend of sporting events. We got to talk about LSU getting the sweep at the Box and then coming back to their midweek game in a disappointing fashion. We're going to get to a little spring game talk. Luffy grinded the tape when Sunday, grinded the tape Sunday, has a full spring game recap. Stinson has another plus 20,000 parlay because his one last week didn't hit. We're going to get to all that. Oh, and by the way, Pels coming home tonight as you're listening to this.
Down 3-2.
Win or go home. Lots to get to on the Out the Box podcast, but you know what we always do before we get to all that? Talk about the Boot Crew Media Network. The Boot Crew Media Network right now is going haywire on Twitter, right? The guys over at Pro Pels Talk, obviously, since the Pels haven't been in the playoffs and playing meaningful, like aggressive series in so many years, like this is Pro Pels Talk's wheelhouse, and they are breaking it all down. They go live so many times just to BS and talk about different scenarios. Like, if you are a Pels fan and you're not following Pro Pels Talk, what in the earth are you doing?
Yeah, their Twitter's popping off right now. Rory's been, he hasn't been on the show, but he's been putting out the Pels tweets for us. He's been handling the Pels Twitter, and he's done a great job.
Yeah, and it's always great to tag Pro Pels Talk because the Pelicans fans, you can just tell that they're not like an angry fan base. They just get excited and they're passionate. It's like the Saints fans, right? It's the same sort of there's no bad blood. It's all like rooting for, like the video of Herb Jones falling on the ground, and he's like, Chris Paul, I don't need you to help me get up. And then McCollum comes up and picks him up. Like, the cohesion and the bonding that this team is showing, and the fact that they're playing meaningful basketball against a team who, frankly, was probably the favorite or one of the favorites to win the
best
championship.
league in the they were the favorite going into the playoffs. Not currently the favorite. I think Golden State is, but they were the best record in the league by like 15 games. Yeah.
But anyway, all that to say, we kind of started breaking it down, but the Boot Crew Media Network is phenomenal. We say it every single week. We've been a part of the Boot Crew Media Network now for over 2 years, and we have loved it ever since. Boot Crew Media on social media, always posting fire content. You'll either laugh your ass off, get breaking news, you name it. Make sure to check out Boot Crew Media on social media at Boot Crew Media and at bootcrewmedia.com. Also, there's some Pels merch on there. By the way, you go to the shop page.
King Room, not on Herb.
Not on Herb. I'm gonna do that tonight. I'm gonna order me a not on Herb.
back.
Are we back? What just happened? That was like the weirdest thing ever.
We probably got an overload of people trying to watch.
System over YouTube almost
YouTube.
shut down.
Yep, we're shutting them down.
All right. Well, I'm gonna just assume that we're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Remember
What?
those times that we recorded like full episodes and the mics were turned off.
Yeah,
Or
I do.
we were was at the house bar. We actually anyway. We'll go ahead and talk about the house bar in Tigerland since we bring them up.
I love them.
The house bar in Tigerland. We have a living, breathing former bartender at the house bar in Tigerland. Former bartender, doorman, bouncer, manager. He was all over the bar.
Yep.
Tell us about the house bar, Stetson.
It's a great place to be. If it's early in the morning or it's late at night, you're probably gonna. If you're there late at night, you're gonna be there early in the morning. I mean, if you're not there when the lights come on,
Why go?
Yeah, why go?
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead, brother.
Great food, great drinks.
Oh.
DJ Road
good
Dog.
times and DJ Road Dog. You
Yep.
can literally eat the best food, drink the best drinks, and listen to the best music in the best environment at the house bar in Tigerland. Make sure to follow them
Boom.
on Twitter and Instagram at House of Tigerland, and on Facebook at Tigerland House. Okay.
They have great Vegas bombs.
Great Vegas bombs and lemon drops as well. I think you
You
said
are a
last
big
week.
lemon
You
drop
would
guy.
be,
I forgot
yeah.
about that.
So okay. We're gonna start off the LSU baseball recap, talking about the good, and then we're gonna take a deep dive into the bad because, by the way, we did place kind of a bet, kind of a wager that if LSU went 7-0 in their next 7 games last week on the pod, that we would do a $100 giveaway. Well, they blew that Tuesday night, but they did get the sweep this past weekend. They're 3-1. We'll make it
$75.
75. We'll
Okay.
make it 75.
Yep.
So we just upped the ante. But the first game, Thursday night, it was a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. I literally, I'm trying to think of the words to say this. I cannot be more impressed with Mikhail Hilliard.
Yeah, I mean, he's been great. He just battles. Every time he's out there, he gave up those first 2 runs. I think he gave up 1 in the first, 1 in the second. And then after that, he battled the and Jay Johnson does a really good job of leaving him in there and letting him pitch, because if not, I mean, if you have a coach that's too quick to pull the trigger, they pull him out of there. He's not able to get into the groove, but he ends up going what, 6 innings?
7.
7
Went
innings?
into the 7th,
I
yes.
knew. Okay. And only gave up 2 runs. He's been great. He really has held it down on Fridays, on that first game, Friday, Thursday, whenever it is, for the last couple of weeks for us. And I mean, he's been key to this success we've had in the last couple SEC weekends, the 2 sweeps.
I mean, dude, you can have the Aaron Nolas, the Alex Langs hitting 95, 96 miles an hour fastball, wicked curve. You can have all that. Big, tall, 6'5", 240 pounds when they go up on the mound. But Mikhail Hilliard is the team leader of this team, not in the sense that he is like, the loud, like in your face, like Beloso, fired up, running out of the dugout. But the example that he is leading for this team, pitching, was not even an option. He was our Sunday guy a few years ago, but to be the Friday night guy and to be going into the 7th inning, putting your team in the driver's seat to win a series, it's incredible. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, his confidence just kind of overflows to the rest of the team. And I think, like you said, he may not be the loudest guy, but when he's hopping around out there doing his like little dance when he goes back to the dugout, the team's fired up. And we're gonna need him if we want to make a deep run and finish this SEC. We have 4 weekends left strong. So and Saturday, money. Did you watch Saturday, John?
I was unable to, so it's Friday.
Or yeah, sorry.
But yeah, I was at a rehearsal dinner, but I was keeping tabs.
Mhm.
I do think that it's all about getting in control early on in the game.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. And money, how many did he go?
I'm forgetting now. He has these like good and bad innings though, almost and he gives up like one big spot in an inning, and sometimes that's the defense not helping him get out of the inning, and sometimes that's on him for leaving pitches up or leaving pitches out. But whenever he gets into a groove, he really can pitch well, and I think there's still like some potential for him to move into maybe the Friday role and you switch Hilliard out. I don't know. It just depends. Like if he can get that groove back, I think he could be really effective still. But like you said, he's not Gaussman right now, or he's not Nola.
That's
like
what
his
I'm
stuff
saying.
is not
It's
that
like,
good. He almost needs like that same battle that Hilliard has in him. And I mean, Hilliard had the bases loaded, I think, in the second inning with one out.
Yes,
and we got
yes.
out of it. So, and that's what's makes him special. He's a veteran pitcher who just really never gives up. And I think Money, sometimes you can tell he's frustrated when he's on the mound, and I think that's something with Hilliard that you just don't see, and that's I think the difference in those two guys right now.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to say about Money. Oh man, Money only did go 2 and 2/3.
He didn't go very long. I would say 3, but
so not very long. I was dead wrong on that. But either way, to get the W, we had 5 pitchers pitch on Friday night: Money, Hasty, Taylor, Gervais, and Cooper. When your starter goes out, your Saturday guy, which like we've said, and that's kind of what I was saying earlier, it's like we don't have the Friday, Saturday 1-2 punch, the Nolas, the Gaussmans, the Renatos, you can go down the list, the Lewis Coleman if you really want to throw it back.
We really need Money to eat up some more innings in these next couple series to get the win. But the relievers, Riley Cooper's been great. Gervais has been good. Raiselman's been good. I mean, these guys have done like the relievers have really come in and been maybe the best part of our team this year so far. They've been like they've saved multiple series and helped us get a couple sweeps. And Riley Cooper brings that energy whenever he's in there pitching. He was talking shit to the other team's dugout, running his mouth, and like he fires up the team. I think he's also a guy, John, who's a leader. So whenever he's out there, the team feels confident. And earlier on in the season, he didn't look very confident. It's completely changed.
Well, I think it has to do coming into a new system, getting in a different groove, the humidity. We'll even throw that one out there. I love hearing that one.
Did someone say he never had been to Louisiana, or was that Barry? One of the two had never been to like Louisiana before they committed.
Barry.
I think it was Barry before he committed. Yeah,
I do think it's Barry, and I do think the humidity is definitely affecting him, not his hitting. But his fielding. We'll get to that. But all that to say, it's like Missouri. We said this last week. Missouri is not a team that in previous years
we needed to sweep Missouri.
Exactly.
We needed to sweep Missouri, and we did. What was the final on Saturday?
I mean, Catholic High could have beat Missouri
4-3
with the sweep.
Really grinded it out on Sunday. We were down, and then or we were up, gave up the lead, and then came back to get that final run. A couple clutch of the last 12 I saw with runners in scoring position. Like he's been incredible. He's a left-handed bat who's stepped into the lineup, and he's been important.
Yeah. So the final score, Missouri tried to pin a comeback late, wasn't enough. LSU at one point was up 8-3. I kind of turned it off after that because it was like, okay, we've already won the series. We're getting we're getting on to the midweek game that we were all very much looking forward to. But all right, let's just go ahead and do it. We shouldn't even spend that much time talking about a sweep against Missouri, right?
Yeah,
so we're gonna go ahead and do it. So I think the stat that kind of shook the world, LSU last night fell to UNO in New Orleans at the lakefront. To add insult to injury, one of the greatest Tigers of all time is currently the coach over there, right? Blake Dean. Did you know that, Stinson? He's
I
the head
did.
coach over UNO, and they whomped us. The errors. I heard a guy at work today. He said we look like the bad news bears out there. What is the damn deal? I'm like, I've racked my brain trying to figure out, like, do they need to shag more ground balls at practice?
No.
Is this what this is? Is it all mental? Like, once you get an error in the first, so what is it? What are these balls? Are the sprinkler heads not all the way down on the field? Where are these errors coming from? They said it on the broadcast last night, 56 errors on the season. Give or take, depending on whether they get canceled or not. We're already over one in error per game, and we're like 65% of the way through the season.
Yeah, I mean, we brought that stat earlier on in a previous episode that it's probably should be more errors. There's a lot of generous, hits that they've not counted as errors, and it's been really bad. And like, it's not going to get any better at this point. Like, we're almost done with the season. We're about to, go into postseason play in a month, and there's no getting better defensively. I mean, not with the lineup that we have out there. It's just, if that's the lineup they're going to play, the defense isn't going to get any better, John.
So let me ask you this. This is the question that I struggle with the most, right? So the majority of guys that are playing in the field are returning, right?
Yeah.
They played under Coach Maneri, and we didn't have this many errors last year. I mean, you have Trey Morgan, you have our right side of the infield, and our shortstop, who Jordan Thompson, I'm confused what changed in his game from last year to this year.
Yeah, I mean, he made a ton of errors last year, but I was trying to compare him to Bregman. This is a mistake by me, like as far as defensively, not offensively, but I was saying his freshman year, Bregman actually made like 5 more errors than he did, and he made a ton last year. And Bregman got a lot better in year 2. We have not seen that with Thompson. His fielding percentage is not good. The infielders are like, and with him, who knows what the deal is, because like it's not like he can't throw the ball. It's the arm talent's there. So it's just really accuracy. And Jay Johnson keeps saying he needs to slow down the game, but it hasn't happened. And we can't turn a double play. When's the last time you've seen us turn a double play? And I mean, it's not, I don't know what to say, because it's probably not getting any better.
No, I know what to say. And Luffy, I think you know what I'm going to say, but we just need to pull the funding all together. I think we talked about this last week, but I mean, if we don't see any kind of improvement, we let them go back to the old Alex box and we start from the beginning.
So you're okay. Well, that got torn down. And it's now dorms or in the.
Well, great. They'll play in the dorms, whatever it takes. What's the field right behind Alex box where U-High plays?
U-High field.
Oh, I thought that was the old Alex box. Whatever. They're playing there now.
Oh, okay.
And they're going to play against U-High. We're going to bring them back to high school.
So we're going to pull the funding. The only other LSU athletic team, I believe, that nets positively for the year.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. If that's what it takes.
I mean, these guys come out cocky. We're going to be really good this year. We're going to be the best in the nation. And they pull off this. We're happy about a sweep against Missouri.
They could fire Mike Bianco, and we have a good chance to finish the season strong and like host a regional, like that's the goal right now. The UNO loss doesn't really matter. I mean, it doesn't really matter this late in the season. Those midweek games, I think, are way more important in the beginning of the season, just because you're trying to find your lineup. And Jay Johnson said it before the game on Wednesday. He said, hey, we're going to try some things. But John, yeah, you're right. We did give up that big inning, and I think it was bases loaded triple because of errors, and that stuff hurts. Like that hurts to like lose that way, but the actual loss doesn't really matter. And we have a shot. I mean, we have a shot here to host the regional and make a run. And we got a big weekend coming up against Georgia.
Yeah, and you mentioned the adjustments that Coach Jay made. You had Trey Morgan batting at DH, which I thought was interesting. That was to get Luke Lito a start at first base. You had Pearson in left. I guess what's so frustrating, it's like, how are you supposed to head into a weekend SEC series after getting walloped by an in-state school? That's like, yeah, on paper, according to the RPI, a midweek loss against UNO is not going to kill you. But how do you have any confidence this past week when I'll be honest, some of these errors that were made last night, it's almost like, do they not know where they're going with the ball? Is it just once they get it, they're just nervous? I don't understand how you can have confidence heading into an SEC series after losing like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to really say, like, as far as where their confidence is going to come from, but I think that's a coaching, like, partially coaching thing. I think Jay will get them fired up, and they're going to be confident going in this weekend. And to talk about Georgia they did get their starter back, their Friday night guy back. Last week, I think, was his first start, and he threw 5 scoreless. Apparently looked really good, but he is going to be a top draft, like one of the top draft picks. But the good thing is he threw well last week. We'll hope for an off week this Friday. But they're a beatable team. They're not bad. They're better than Georgia usually is. They've had a solid season, and it's just important. You have to win these series. You have to win this home series. I think a home series win could really do us a favor because we need that momentum. We need the confidence playing at home. Like, we haven't had that true confidence playing at home. And I think last week was a good step as far as being confident going into this next series. And it's a must-win series.
I mean, I feel like every home series, at least at a minimum, is a must-win, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just we're going what?
To Bama,
2 Vandy and 2 Bama, and then we have Ole Miss here and Georgia here. So you really, really need to beat Ole Miss and Georgia at home because Bama's not as bad as they have been in the past, and Vandy's Vandy. I mean, they're not Vandy of the last couple of years, but they're still a good baseball team with really good baseball players, and they're very talented. And if they catch stride, they're similar to us, maybe somewhat underperforming so far this year, but they could bust out and be great at any time.
Yes. So I think that about covers it. It's just the frustration builds as the season goes on, and it's supposed to be improving. We started off at the beginning of the season saying, "Oh, that's just going to work itself out. That's just a new coaching style, a new way to approach the game, more offensive." But I don't know. The good thing is that time isn't going to stop. And
hey, we're second in the SEC West right now. We're only 2 games back of Arkansas.
That's also something that just makes it seem like there is a little bit of hope, right? Like unless you look at that stat, you're like, how, as an LSU baseball fan, how is this happening? Right?
Because the relief pitching's done a great job. Like they're the real MVPs.
Yeah. But I think let's clean it up. Let's flush it. And what better way to flush it?
I was at the Zurich this past weekend. Stinson went and actually was with Martine on Saturday for a little while as he was inspecting the porta potties. I'm talking about almost every single one. He was walking in and out because they weren't his. He wanted to check the quality. He wanted to say, what can we do better to make our porta potties better at Workbox? He was going in and out of every one, smelling, looking around, had his iPhone flashlight going, and he said, these might not be up to Workbox quality.
And the food at the Zurich, I mean, it's all kind of stuff. Chili dogs, cheeseburgers, tacos.
And that's just an example of how hard Martine is working. Call Workbox if you need a storage container, if you need the luxury restroom rentals. They have porta potties and luxury restroom rentals. They have roll-off dumpsters. They have storage containers. Call Workbox LLC at 225-343-4886. That's Workbox LLC. Martine, ask for Martine specifically at 225-343-4886.
Kid works hard. He's always on the phone. You play around with golf, he'll answer probably what? How many phone calls? 10 at
Per
least.
9.
And he
Yeah.
still shoots a 62.
Yeah,
That's right.
I think he shoots in the low 50s.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Luffy. I know Saturday. I know a lot of people are not crazy about the spring game because of the timing of year. You got the Zurich, obviously.
There's a baseball game going
There's a
on.
baseball game. You got all kind of stuff going on. The the flock is hot, but Luffy, 3 major takeaways from the spring game.
The quarterback battles, I think, pretty wide open between 3. I don't know if Walker Howard's really ready yet or they want him to be ready, but I think Nuss is firmly in the conversation now with Jaden Daniels and with Miles. And secondly, the defensive line, like, they look legit. They look legit. And then lastly, Will Campbell. He looks legit out there. I mean, he's having to block some freaks on Mason Smith, Ali Gay, BJ Ojolari, and like he's holding his own. He's supposed to be in high school right now. He's done a damn good job at left tackle for only how many 4 weeks of practice, 5 weeks, 6 weeks of practice, and that does get me excited. The defense, it was like very vanilla. The quarterback play. They knew, like Brian Kelly said it after, they only ran 1 coverage defensively. So everyone kind of knew where everybody was going to be. And I think you got a little taste of the offense, not much. I think it was still very simple. Brian Kelly talked about them still implementing things and learning to practice the right way. And it's a process. Like, I did not watch that game thinking we were going to be great next year. We have some major holes at cornerback right now. We talked about Seven Banks last week, who we signed from Ohio State. Still worried about that position. Offensive line, definitely still a little worried there. Hopefully Dellinger comes back healthy. He didn't practice this spring, which hurt. But the running backs did look good as well. I thought Armani Goodwin looked really good. They said Emery was hurt, but he wanted to play through a little pain. He had a couple nice runs. And Trey Bradford, too. Played well, so at the running back spot. Jack Best, who we thought he was, a couple touchdowns. Brian Thomas, great. He went up and caught a great deep ball. But I don't know. What do you want to talk quarterback? Who do you think's going to be? Did you have a chance to watch any of it?
I like I said, this weekend was tough. It was a huge weekend of sports.
It's always on a crazy weekend.
It was tough, but we had to be, the wedding festivities start all day.
It's wedding
also,
season.
shout out, buddy. Actually, there's 2 weddings we got to shout out. Mr. Grant Riera and his lovely wife Brittany. That's the wedding I was at, and longtime listener Mr. Ebone Capone.
Yep.
Ethan Robarts and his wife Sarah, now Robarts. They're married as well. So it's wedding season. It's wedding season as well as baseball season as well as basketball. I mean, there's so many different seasons this time of year. But all that to say, I did want to ask. So the new format this year, right? Because the lack of depth at this point in the spring. Was it a hindrance? Was it how different was it? Was it?
No, I don't really find it to be different at all because, so what happened is they sent the first team out there. It was Jaden Daniels, 1v1, and then second team went out with Nuss, 2v2s, like defensively and offensively, and then Miles went out there with the 1v1 again, which is usually pretty similar. How do they do it? And there's always guys like changing jerseys. But I did enjoy one thing. We went full special teams. We kicked off, but we didn't. We kicked it off with just a kicker, and someone caught it and returned it. There was 2 guys, returners, and then we did pretty much full punt, not completely full, but we did punt. We kicked field goals. Ezekiel is our new kicker's name. He's left-footed. He had a 48-yarder, which was good to see because we pretty much lost everybody from special teams, and we have no clue who's going to be really the guys there. Like we got to learn like 5 new names for special teams. So that was something, that I was interested in, and they did everything. I mean, Tiger Walk, coaches were in the press box, like the coaches that will be there on game day. They ran through the tunnel. They did everything. Brian Kelly wanted like just a practice run, but you can imagine being at a different school for however long he was at Notre Dame, 12 years, and coming to a new place. You just want to go through your routine. So that's not your first time doing it on an actual game.
So Joe, Jamar, Clyde,
That
Thad, the whole squad was in town.
Sting, yep.
Sting, Wood, and that's big with the draft this
Yeah,
week. We'll get to that.
Recruiting was a big recruiting weekend as well, and it's impressive that Brian Kelly got them all down here. It really is, because people are saying Joe wouldn't come down here, didn't come for a game last year after. Like, he's busy during
considering
the season.
he played the next day.
Right,
yeah. Like people were like,
he's a starting quarterback of an NFL.
He didn't come. Well, he had a bye week, but
so
yeah, they were like, people were mad. Like he didn't come during the bye week. It's like the dude loves football. Like he was probably grinding film. They went to the Super Bowl. He was probably grinding film during that off week. But still, for Brian Kelly not to have really any relationship with those guys, to get them all down here was impressive, and good recruiting weekend. We're about to have a couple more commitments coming soon, and they needed it. I mean, they needed that. They needed this weekend because they were behind, just starting as late as he got here.
Yeah.
Dude, if you were a recruit and Joe Burrow was like trying to convince you to come to LSU, he didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
He's a living LSU legend. I mean, I don't see a scenario in which I'd be like, nah, I'm gonna go play somewhere else. Like he's literally one of the greatest college football players of all time.
Yeah.
And
those guys showing back up kind of shows you like how committed they are to the school. And it might not, all those guys not having the best relationship, like you said, with Brian Kelly, but them still showing up because they care for the school.
Yeah.
It shows a lot. It shows a lot to a lot of the recruits. Obviously,
Jamar and Jefferson was here as well. I don't know if you said him earlier, but those two guys, they're superstars. Jefferson basically blew up. He's worldwide. He's one of the few worldwide football players because of the gritty.
Yeah.
And Jamar Chase broke all of his records and went to the Super Bowl this year. I mean, everyone knows if you play football, like if you're a high school football player, you know who those guys are. You watch them on TV every single weekend. See them on SportsCenter, fantasy team, everything. Like that's pretty cool to have those guys, back in the building.
Yeah.
And all together too. Yeah. Yeah. And Jamar, I mean, his gritty too.
Jamar's gritty was kind of underappreciated.
Yeah, his gritty is good.
It's like Jefferson, he just – it was like they were both gunning for a position, and one of them got it, and the other one just got no credit.
Well, Jefferson added flair. He kind of moved the knees a little bit more.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe
Jamar
kind of
Jets was in the league. He was just in the league a year before, so it blew up even more. But you remember when they scored all those touchdowns against Ole Miss? They kept scoring touchdowns at 19, and they kept dancing, and the refs finally broke it up. They're like, all right, enough after the 5th touchdown.
Also, Ole Miss scored a lot of touchdowns in that game.
Yeah,
as well.
they did.
A little bit more of them.
We had half the defense was out. But.
Right.
So all that to say, beautiful Saturday in Baton Rouge. Overall, a positive, you'd say, for the program, I guess.
Oh yeah, for football, 100%. There's definitely some big recruits coming, and like I said, they were a little behind the 8 ball there, just because when you have a whole new staff, you pretty much fire everybody in the building. It's hard, but they're getting started, they're getting rolling, and Brian Kelly has been pretty open this spring about where he thinks we are.
Yes. So the itch is getting stronger. Football season is right around the corner, but this baseball team, I'm not gonna be satisfied until the baseball team turns something around and hits that late season stride, right? Because it's coming, right? It's kind of hard to say that, given that the errors have not gotten better at all. Arguably, they've gotten worse. But it's coming, right? I mean, it has to be coming.
The bats are still there. We had 11 hits on Sunday. There's potential for the bats to continue to carry us over the errors, and the relief pitching to continue to carry us over the errors. And you just got to get hot. Just got to get hot at the right time,
dude. I agree with that. I just have to wonder. This is just a hypothetical, but say you have an LSU team of the past 5 years. Pick the worst hitting LSU team of the past 5 years. Last year they were hitting very well. If you had the worst hitting team in the last 5 years and this year's fielders, would we be above 500? That's a question.
Yeah, relief pitching is definitely
you
a
can
big
take
factor.
you can
in
take
that.
the pitching, the pitching from this year as well, because that goes with
pitching's-
the defense.
The pitching's been not last year. I mean, the pitching's been better this year than last year, really.
No, I'd agree.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
that. I'd
yeah.
agree
So
with
I'm
that.
saying, yeah, you might be in trouble if it was last year.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I just have to have faith that dude, our averages anyway. We're gonna hit that late season stride, and hopefully we'll have a tailgate during then.
Tailgate soon.
All right. Do y'all imagine this? I'm gonna paint a little picture for y'all.
Paint it.
So you go to college, right? And
Okay.
you bring all your clothes with you, and one of the first weeks of college, you go out to the bar. Say the house bar, just say for this example.
Yeah.
Right. And you go home, you throw your clothes in the hamper, and you bring your clothes home to your mom on Sunday, and she washes them, whatever. Well, then it starts to get cold. You wore shorts and a t-shirt that night. Then it starts to get cold. Well, that was the last time you wore those shorts. Then fast forward to March. One of the first times it starts getting warmer after winter. You go to put on your shorts that you wore back in, I don't know, October, and they're too small because guess what? You gained 15 pounds.
Yep. Freshman.
Then 3, 4, 5 years later, you get on keto.
Yep. Know about it.
You lose, I don't know, say 15 pounds. You go in your room, you find your shorts. You try them on because you want to see if you fit in your old shorts before you gained and lost 15 pounds. Guess what's in one of the pockets? A crisp $20 bill that you forgot to take out of there.
Wow. I
Is
would have
that-
spent. I would have gone if I found that $20 bill. I would have gone
Lottery
straight to the
ticket?
house of the Tigerland, straight to the house in Tigerland, and bought Vegas bombs. That would give you probably about 5 Vegas bombs right there for you and all your boys.
Yes, and if you know a bartender, it'll get you 10.
Right.
But
Well,
We're not
Don't-
guaranteeing that.
yeah, we don't say that.
no,
We won't
I'm
guarantee
kidding.
that's
I'm
it. Wow,
kidding.
John.
I'm kidding.
Yep.
Uh,
Pay for everything there.
no, but wouldn't that be one of the greatest feelings ever?
Yeah, it's happened. Happens to a lot of people. I feel like.
Finding an old 20 in some shorts after
Yeah.
years.
I used to purposely do that so I would be happy.
You'd like mail yourself a letter that needs to be sent back in 5 years. And
Yeah.
So
Bury it in the backyard.
Right.
yeah. Anyway, all that to say, in the same way that finding a 20 in your shorts from 5 years ago is one of the greatest things you can ever do, getting Blaine Loop to be your realtor is just as great. Just as great. Equally as great. Blaine is the man. Blaine wants to help you out. I know from personal experience. I don't know how many times I can say this. Blaine has been my realtor before. It's insane. Blaine wants you to know that he wants to be your friend, your neighbor, and your agent. We need to get Blaine to give us a new ad read. That is literally from the original ad read. Your friend, your neighbor, and your agent, which is true, by the way.
It is true.
But Blaine wants you to know that if you need any real estate advice, whether you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, find a place to rent, or find people to rent out your investment property, make sure to call or text Blaine Loop at 504-858-0031 for all your housing needs. Blaine is the man. Blaine will be the $20 bill that you find in your pocket after 5 years. And I think that was probably about a 2-minute story that I was
pretty good,
telling,
though.
and I was looking at you the whole time, and I could tell you had no idea where it was going. So
No idea.
it was like a good punchline to a joke. That's one of the greatest things ever too. So make sure to
Yeah.
call or text Blaine Loop at 504-858-0031 for all your housing needs.
Yep. You might give that $20 to Blaine because he's that good. He wouldn't accept it. Obviously, he's a great guy.
Exactly.
I would
Right.
try to give it to Blaine.
NFL draft tonight.
Yes.
couple Tigers that we need to talk about in the draft. Derrick Stingley Jr. is currently the betting favorite to go number 3 overall. Everyone said he was sliding a little bit, but he's climbed back up those draft boards. I put a poll up. It looks like most people think that he's going to go in that top 5 range, and that top 10 range, which, I mean, Vegas is usually right about this stuff. This stuff kind of gets leaked. I hope he goes, as high as he can. Those signing bonuses are big, and a couple other Tigers, Damon Clark. I'm sad for him, man, because he was probably a late first, early second round draft pick, and who knows what he would have tested at the combine. May have jumped to the mid first rounds, and he's projected in like the 3rd and 4th round right now. And I saw someone had him in the 5th, so I hope Damon climbs up those boards some tonight, and then also Cade York. Do you think Cade York will get drafted?
I think so.
He's getting drafted.
I think so. I just think if he's a good enough kicker, he has the leg, which is the main thing why people used to freak out. Why is Cole Tracy not in the NFL? Well, he kicks it, 50 yards max, but Cole Tracy can hits him from deep. He's done it in games at LSU, whipped Florida's ass in the swamp. And our guys, Ed Ingram, Austin Deculus in the draft. Good luck to those guys. Big bangers up front. And who else am I missing? Cordell Flott, who I think could be a steal. I would have loved it if he would have come back to LSU for another year.
I feel like he was. That's what I was gonna say. He was one of those guys that could have probably used another
the
year.
Signing bonus in the NFL draft drops off so much from that first round. If he had another year at LSU and tore it up, he's top 15 pick, top 20 pick, and him leaving. I mean, good luck to him. I hope he balls out in the NFL, but really think he could have used another year just to wait and getting stronger and more physical, but really talented, nose for the ball, almost that nickel back spot, but he's long. I think he could get drafted higher than people think this weekend.
Yes.
Any thoughts on the draft, Stinson?
So, yeah, go ahead, Stinson.
Can't wait for it. Tigers top 15. All of the ones that we just mentioned, top 15
in the draft.
Cade York is also sponsored by Velveeta cheese.
That is
the cheesiest.
Yeah, so they'll probably look at that too.
So yeah, the draft always an exciting time of year.
Kind of a boring draft. The Saints have 2 first draft picks this year, which is very different. Do you think they'll draft a quarterback?
QB or no?
I don't think so.
No, Matt Corral.
I do have a Saints super fan that I work with all day, every day. He's thinking Saints. He actually thinks the Saints are going to make a move if Jameson Williams is available for him. So
I think they're trying to draft a tackle. They might slide up to try to draft a tackle because they have 2 first round picks, and the Saints tend to trade that.
What is it? 16 and 19? 16, 19. 16, 19.
I think one of them is definitely 19, but
69.
Anyway, you could package that one of the first rounds with a second round or a third round pick, and it'll be interesting to see what they do because people are always mad about the Saints draft. They draft smart, they draft O-line, but they've struggled in the last couple of years to hit on some position players of need. I think the Saints need some receivers, like you said, but I don't think they're going to move up and get them in the first round. If they keep those 2 picks, I wouldn't be surprised to see them go receiver. But I think that I would not be shocked at all. We lost Armstead to Miami, and it wouldn't surprise me to see them go tackle or try to move up for a tackle.
Yeah,
and the kid from the Mississippi State, specifically, Charles Cross.
Yeah,
he's a big boy. LSU recruited him.
I think it's going to be interesting to see what Dennis Allen does.
Yeah. Saw Sean this weekend at the Missouri.
Was he was out there?
Yeah.
No, it's funny. It's so weird because people our age don't know anything hardly other than Sean Payton, right? People, it's almost like I forgot that he's not going to be the coach.
It was like when Les left.
Yes, exactly. you can say it all you want. Like, yeah, I watched football when I was 5 years old, but like nobody remembers Nick
The
Saban.
only thing I remember from Nick Saban is watching the 2003 national championship game. I just remember
Exactly.
where I was and like
Exactly.
watching it, but I can't remember. Like, I remember only like 2 or 3 certain games in that season. But like for the most part, it was Les Miles until and now BK. But like it's like when Les Miles left, it was like, whoa, this is so different because you're so used to seeing that person run out of the tunnel and do the press conferences, and it's going to be really different.
So where do y'all think he's gonna go?
You need to turn your mic on.
Sorry, I was pouring your beer. Where do y'all think he's
Thank
going to
you.
go?
I put up a poll on the Instagram.
Saw that.
Where do you think Sean's going? Let's see what the day. All right.
Is the
fan
poll- is the
said-
poll on?
No, I got it on my phone. I screenshotted it. The fan said 55% Dallas, 15% Miami, which is what I voted for,
I
and
voted that.
29% other. What do you think, John?
Sean, as in Sean Payton?
Yeah.
Like in the future?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like not.
I said, where does Sean coach next?
coach next,
Right.
Dallas for sure.
So you're with Dallas.
He's gonna do a year. He's gonna do a year at Fox. I think that's what I was gonna mention. He got a deal today. Like they made it official today. He's gonna be in the broadcast booth at Fox.
Yep.
With the departure of Joe Buck and Aikman. So he'll be one of the guys in the booth. But I mean, dude, this is pretty much like, I'm not gonna say it's a guarantee, but I think Jerry Jones is gonna move on from McCarthy. And
That press conference with Jerry Jones, I saw like a clip from it, and McCarthy looked like he was like a student in trouble the whole time. It was like NFL draft. He was like sitting there like this, just like bundled up, like in his little jacket, and like Jerry Jones was on the other side with like the rest of the Jones family. And I'm like, he looks like just like a dead man walking.
like it just has the. I mean, he won the Super Bowl in Green Bay and all that. But
If they don't win
Aaron
it all, they're
Rodgers-
gonna fire him this year. I
Exactly.
agree. I agree.
And
Yeah.
given what it is, I mean, you got to give a guy a chance, right? Like you can't just have a one and done, like fire him after 1 year or 1-2 years in the NFL. But this is the year. And if they don't make a run in the playoffs, I don't think you got to win the Super Bowl. But Jerry Jones ain't getting.
I think you have to get there.
I think Jerry Jones ain't getting any younger, and he's had his eye on Sean Payton for a long time. So
Yeah.
I think Sean Payton will. Unless he just enjoys the broadcast booth, getting paid more than he did as the coach to do way less work.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see.
So
But-
if they don't, so if Dallas does go to the Super Bowl and they do make it far in the playoffs, what
And
happens
still,
then?
I really think
It's the
that
Dolphins.
if Sean Payton's willing to go there, if he's willing to do it, they'll fire him if they win the Super Bowl. I mean, like they'll fire McCarthy if they win the Super Bowl. They won't, but win it. But he would do anything for Sean Payton. I mean, Jerry Jones had multiple wet dreams about him.
Yeah.
Well,
It's true, but I do feel like he would do better in Florida. Just he probably needs to get a little tan going.
Sean Payton's is definitely a Miami guy.
Yeah, I can
well,
see him.
they were trying to go to Miami. Like they were trying to get Brady. Brady was trying to force himself to Miami, and Sean Payton was going to be the head coach. It was pretty much a done deal, but both teams said no. I mean, the Bucs said no, we're not going to trade you. And that's why he retired and did that whole thing. So
Honestly, Sean's also a liability in Miami. He'd probably be at Club 11 every night or live or something like that. I mean, he wouldn't get any work done.
Yeah, but let's just say New Orleans, like obviously Miami's got the clubs and all that, but New Orleans is a party city.
Yeah, but I think he adapted, kind of to the culture. And, I think NOLA is more of a day drinking kind of crowd now. So, I mean, whenever you get into the Miami nightlife, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a whole different ballgame.
Okay, fair point. I think before we get to the House Always Wins segment, so we've shouted out all of our sponsors besides Draftkings. But before I shout out Draftkings, I want to go ahead and say that, like we've already mentioned at the beginning of the show, the Pelicans. We're gonna let Propels talk. Handle the Pelicans talk. We're the LSU
Flock.
guys. We're the LSU guys. But what I want to say is, like, the fact that yeah, we lost last night. Yeah, it was a tough game. By the way, tired of these 9 o'clock games. They're ruthless
brutal.
for a guy that needs his beauty sleep. But
For the working man.
yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I don't work hard. I just work. But no. But all that to say,
I
like,
hope your boss doesn't listen.
he doesn't.
That's good.
He doesn't. He's told me, he's like, I'm not listening to you, but he's like, I listen to you enough during the day. But anyway, all that to say, to be playing meaningful basketball, that's the phrase that Matt Moscona uses all the time, and it really is cool to see like New Orleans like come alive for something that they haven't come alive for in a while, right?
Yeah.
Like to actually get excited to have playoff games in the blender. It is incredible. So Pro Pels Talk, check it out. There's also some other Pels content on the Boot Crew Media Network. Make sure to check it out. But Pro Pels Talk is where it's at. All right. Before we get to the House Always Wins segment, Stinson, do you know that for baseball fans, it's time to step up to the plate with Draftkings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball? New customers can bet just $5 on any team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. If sportsbooks aren't available in your state yet, you can still take a swing at Stacks of Green with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Baseball Contest. New customers can play free for thousands in prizes with their first deposit. Pick a lineup of 2 players and 8 batters while staying under the salary cap and rack up points for hits, runs, strikeouts, and more. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code BOOT, B-O-O-T. Bet just $5 and win $200 in free bets if your team wins their game. That's promo code BOOT at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. 21 plus restrictions apply. MLB trademarks used with permission. See show notes for details.
Boom.
You like that?
I like that.
Instead of saying details, it just gets right to the point. All right. House Always Wins. Stinson, talk about your parlay that didn't hit.
Yeah, it was brutal. That's why I'm big on pulling the baseball funding. I had $20 down to win $20,000, and they ended up blowing it last night. And I think that was probably the most favorited game for them to win out of that whole parlay series. Because I mean, I had the sweep.
Not the Pels.
LSU baseball was like minus whatever it was yesterday, money line.
Right.
So, I mean, Pels were plus money. 1, lock. LSU
Flock.
baseball, flock. LSU baseball sweep, lock. Pels, lock. Midweek game,
Was a lot.
pull the funding.
Yeah. Okay. So do you have a redemption shot for this week?
I'll have to think about it. So go to Luffy first.
All right.
I
Luffy.
gave Zalatoris last week,
You did.
and they got 4th. Came up just short on that long shot odd winner. This week, or this is tonight, actually. Tonight, you got to bet it. Derrick Stingley Jr. Let me make sure the odds haven't changed. Earlier, it was plus 225 to go 3rd overall to the Texans. Let's see if it hasn't changed.
I do not. Man, that stinks.
What?
Going to the Texans.
I know. I don't want them to go
That's
there.
tough, dude. That is a rough break.
All right. I took plus 225 earlier on that 3rd pick. I just thought, why did it jump that much? It kind of sketched me out. Then my phone's not loading, but 3rd overall pick, Derrick Stingley Jr.
Okay. Last week I had top 10 finish for Scotty Scheffler, and I forget who his partner was, but as we're pulling it up, they finished tied for 8th. So
Yeah.
All right. Tonight, Pels. We're going back to our old ways. We're taking the over. I feel like it's going to be a shootout. I feel like the Pels have their backs up against the wall. It is in the blender. The over is 214 points. I think it might be kind of tough without Booker, but Suns, still a great scoring team. I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a close game. I think the Pels win and take the over, but my house always wins pick is over 214 points minus 110. What y'all think of that?
Flock.
I like that.
All right.
All right. I think that about does it for our house always wins segment and our show. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Yeah, I didn't want to bet.
Well, you should have had a pick when you were ready to go. It's the house always wins segment.
All right, I got it now. Parlay. Pels. First half. Flock. You said you got the over, right? Take the over and then parlay all that with the money line as well. 20 to win 20K.
All right. That's definitely the odds.
Yep, that sounds right to me. Thank you guys so much for listening. We cannot thank y'all enough, especially our listeners who have kept listening with Stinson as our guest host.
Yeah.
He's done a phenomenal
Text
job.
him and talk shit, please.
Yep,
He has done a good job, as much as it pains me to say it. Thank you guys so much. Shout out to the House Bar in Tigerland, Workbox LLC, Blaine Loop with Keller Williams Realty. You also want you to know that Keller Williams is an equal opportunity housing partner. Each office independently owned and operated. Draftkings, the House Bar in Tigerland, and the Boot Crew Media Network.
Love all those people.
Is Rory coming back next week?
Maybe.
I guess we'll find out.